Hey, Stone Cousins. You already know what time it is. Animated horror stories. Animated horror stories. Ding, ding, ding. Mm-mm-mm. Let's get into this. Where are we at today? We are at SSG Animation's house. Like the video like I did, subscribe. You see me already subscribed. And, go enjoy over there. Please do the same for over here if you want to. Ain't nobody forcing you. But, if you watch the whole video to the end, if you watch more than half the video, definitely subscribe because that's what you need to do. It's just right. It's just fair. All right. Please grab a blunt, grab a bottle of water, grab two if it's hot in your house. Grab a blanket. Don't grab it if it's hot in your house. Grab it if it's cold in your house if you got AC. And grab a bag of chips so you have something to snack on. All right? All right. Let's go.
The Divine Massage Parlor seemed like the answer to all my stress-induced problems. As a massage parlor
lovely.
blogger and enthusiast, I was always on the lookout for new places to review and experience. So when I stumbled upon the Divine Massage Parlor and
Ooh, a massage parlor a massage parlor reviewer? Don't pit me on a job
read the
now.
glowing
That
reviews,
sounds good.
I knew I had to check it out. I remember being really excited on the day I decided to visit the parlor. And I rechecked my phone over and over to be sure that I got there at the right time. I parked my car outside the pretty-looking building, and I could already feel the curiosity bubbling within me. I even told myself that this is what happens when you go to a place with nothing less than 5-star reviews. I eventually made my way inside, eager to experience the relaxation and rejuvenation that the parlor had promised in the flyers. The interior of the Divine Massage Parlor was dimly lit, creating a soothing ambiance over the space. This was pretty common in massage parlors, but I enjoyed the calm that came with low lights in addition to the soft music they were playing. A friendly receptionist greeted me at the door and ushered me into a cozy waiting area. There were a few other people in there too.
Okay.
And I filled out the necessary paperwork and waited anxiously for my turn. I had already been to many massage parlors at this point,
Yeah,
so I was familiar with the usual soft light and relaxing scents. But there was something
Y'all
about
hear
this
that?
one that
That means
seemed to
it's about to
stand
happen.
out, and I couldn't figure out why. Eventually, my name was called, and I followed the receptionist down a narrow hallway. I had heard a lot of good things about this place, so I had very high hope. But then
If you see my eyes glancing down, I just want some, I'm just trying to play my monopoly.
again, I had also been disappointed in highly rated massage rooms before. With that being
okay.
said, I decided
You have
to
an open
hold off
mind.
my review until after the massage session. We soon
Why would you
stopped
not?
outside the door marked Massage Room 1, and the receptionist, whose name was Cindy, handed me a silk blindfold. I took it, not understanding what it was for.
Don't you
so
put on
I
that
asked,
blindfold.
and Cindy explained with a smile, saying, "The manager requires all clients to wear this during their massage. It enhances
And just like that, I would have walked out. Blindfolds are for bedrooms. Blindfolds are for surprises with your spouse. When y'all walking, you ever see those little those couple videos where they put the blindfold on and they're like, "Come on, I'll guide you inside," and they take it off, and it's just a beautiful thing. They're not for massage parlors where you've never been before and you about to get naked. No, ma'am. No, hand. Leave.
their experience and allows better relief and enjoyment.
I promise you it
Everyone
don't.
does it.
It's
and
okay.
they all say it makes the experience better. I
It's
was
fine.
so
I don't need
confused
it.
at first, as it was an odd rule, and I'd never seen this done before in other massage parlors.
So don't
but I
do it.
shrugged it off as some kind of part of the experience then. I was also eager to see what awaited me on the other side of the blindfold, so I accepted. As the
Some
door closed
bullshit.
behind me, I took a deep breath and secured the blindfold over my eyes before lying down on the massage beds. It took a while, but the moment the massage began, I was transported to a state of bliss. The hands working on my body felt magical, expertly kneading away all my tension and stress. And I wished that I could at least see and talk to the person who was massaging me. I usually liked talking to the masseur or the masseuse who was giving me the massage, as I felt that added to the experience.
You about to take that blindfold off, they're gonna be naked or something nasty.
I often asked them questions about their day or their experience working there because it made me feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
I also liked seeing the masseur when I spoke to them, but out of respect for the organization, I kept my blindfold on as I asked, "This feels wonderful. Did you study this somewhere, or is this a born-given talent?" Most people go to learn this, but I've met a few who claim that they were born with magical hands. The masseur didn't answer my question, and I thought he or she didn't hear me, so I asked again. However, nothing but silence answered me. It felt like I was just rambling on at that point, so I stopped inquiring and kept quiet. I thought the masseur was rude at first, but then I told myself that they might have been instructed not to communicate with the clients by their manager. It made
You just filled out the paperwork. Did you read any of this in the paperwork? Like, please stop. Ugh. I would have been so annoyed up in there. I would have been annoyed from the point where old girl said you have to put this blindfold on. I would not have been getting this rub down. Because I would have been like, it didn't say none of this in the paper. In the paper you had me fill out, yeah, none of this. Blindfold, don't say nothing, none of that.
Sense to me, as there were already so many rules in the divine massage parlor. And I wish that the manager or the receptionist would have told me that their policy didn't allow them to talk to the clients.
That's what I'm saying.
As I would have understood and avoided the awkward situation. I didn't ask my masseur any more questions after that. And I lay there, enjoying the soothing massage. But as the minutes passed, I could not just shake off the feeling something was off with this place. And it wasn't just the strict rules. The sensation of the hands on my back felt strange and a bit otherworldly. It was almost as if the masseur's hands didn't quite belong to a human. And I felt this way because I couldn't feel any fingers pressing into my muscles. Just a smooth, continuous pressure. I pushed aside my unease, blaming it on the relaxation-induced haze I was in. I even told myself that I was just overthinking it. But the curiosity gnawed at me like a persistent itch. And before I knew it, I was reaching up to remove the blindfold, as I wanted to find out the secret of the masseurs at the Divine Massage Parlor, even though it meant I would be banned for doing it. As the fabric fell away, I froze in horror at the sight before me. The masseuse standing over me was a pale, lean, and haggard figure, and his face was contorted into a grotesque grimace. But it wasn't even his appearance that made my blood run cold of his hands, as there was nothing but smooth, scarred flesh where his fingers should have been. That was when the horrific realization hit me like a ton of bricks, and I let out a gut-wrenching scream. The masseur's eyes widened in panic, and he stumbled backward, as he was not expecting me to uncover his secret. That was when I noticed there was a gag tied around his mouth, and he looked more like a captive than the masseur. A lot of thoughts ran through my mind as I struggled to make sense of everything I was seeing, but my first instinct was to run. I wasted no time fleeing from the massage room, my heart racing as I stumbled through the dimly lit hallway. I burst into the reception area, and I frantically explained what had happened to the receptionist Cindy, who seemed unaware of the horrors that were going on in the parlor. Cindy explained to me that she was new, and she was not allowed to see them either. But the manager had told her that she would be let into the parlor's secret soon. And she never imagined it would be this. I could tell she was horrified by the look on her face. And she immediately called the police and recounted what I had told to her with tears streaming down her face. The authorities arrived at the Divine Massage Parlor within minutes, and they surveyed the place before sending some officers in to scout the rooms. They then brought out a few men and women who all had stumps where their fingers should have been. And most of them were gagged up and in tears. An investigation was immediately carried out into the Divine Massage Parlor. And it wasn't long before the horrors came to light. It was revealed that the manager, a man named Mr. Galvin Dean, was a demented psychopath with a twisted obsession with massages. During his interrogation, Mr. Dean told the officers he believed his employees could only give the divine massage that his organization boasted of if their fingers have been cut off. This was a belief he had adopted after a supposed encounter with a fingerless masseuse in Thailand about 10 years ago. Mr. Dean claimed that the woman had cut off her fingers and sacrificed them to her gods in a ritual that allowed her to reach new heights as a masseuse and give mind-blowing massages. So in a sick attempt to recreate the sensation, Mr. Dean kidnapped helpless immigrant workers and subjected them to brutal amputations before placing them in his massage parlor to work for him. He also threatened them with deportation if they ever went to the authorities and gagged them so they couldn't speak to the clients for help. This was also why he implemented the mandatory blindfold rule and told clients that it elevated the experience. The many disturbing discoveries that were uncovered at the Divine Massage Parlor shocked the entire town. During his trial, Mr. Dean was declared insane and sentenced to spend the rest of his life in an insane asylum for his terrible crimes. A few people protested at the end of his trial, as they believed he deserved worse for the horrors he committed. But there was nothing they could do, as the judge had already passed the sentence. The experience left me scarred for life, as I'm still unable to shake off the memory of those fingerless hands pressing into my skin while I lay there, enjoying myself at the expense of those abused immigrants. However, despite the horror of it all, nothing compares to the massage I received that day. Now, I know what I'm about to say might sound bizarre, but
stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You just said everything you said, and now you about to say that was the best massage you ever had? A fingerless massage? She needs to go.
But while Mr. Gavin Dean might have been insane, he wasn't lying, as there was something truly divine about those particular massages. I tried to recreate the sensation by telling masseurs to massage me using only their fists rather than their fingers, but it wasn't.
Oh my god. Okay. If you got your blunts, this is where we gonna light them. 'Cause this bitch here, she gon' tweak out too. She gon' start to tweak out too, because that just don't make no damn sense. You sat there, opened that door, took that blindfold off, seen some people with no fingers, did all that, and then said it's the best massage of your life. You're out here telling people to try to not use their fingertips to touch you. Girl, you need a new job. You don't need to be a massage reviewer no more. You need something else, because you're sick. He's not sick. He needs to go to the hospital. I mean, he need to go to jail. You need to go to the hospital.
The same. I often feel guilty for thinking about my visit to the massage parlor in a fond manner. Girl. But it truly was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's been a few years now since it happened, But I still think about it to this very day because, as messed up as it sounds, I sometimes wonder if I too would give up my fingers just so I could relive the otherworldly massage that I once experienced at the Divine Massage Parlor.
That's insane.
The first time I entered a massage parlor was when my wife booked an appointment for me at the local one. As a construction contractor, most of my work consists of physical labor. Even though I'm not a laborer, I don't mind picking up the hammer and getting behind the wheel if I'm short-staffed. While working on my latest project, I was constantly exhausted. I had pain in my back and shoulders, and as a result, I was constantly stressed and anxious. My sweet wife thought that a full-body massage might relax me and booked me a session. I had never had a massage before, let alone a full-body massage in a massage parlor, so I had no clue what to expect. Even though the massage parlor was pretty famous, it was a unisex massage parlor, and you never know if your massage therapist will be a woman or a man. I went in for my appointment, and the receptionist greeted me and took me to a room. The ambiance of the room was relaxing, and like any other massage room you could think of, soft music was being played, scented candles were lit, and I was asked to strip and wrap a towel around my waist before the massage therapist arrived.
Okay.
I waited for a couple of minutes, and a woman in her mid-40s entered the room. I'm a 36-year-old man, and I admit getting a massage from a woman felt a bit awkward. But the woman was very sweet, and she made me feel comfortable right away. She laid me down on my stomach and began massaging my back. Instantly, the warm oil and the pressure of her hands felt good. And after some time, I didn't care that it was a woman massaging me, so I completely relaxed. She was slowly releasing the knots in my back and shoulders, and a pair of hands were working on my calves, too.
What?
Was there someone else in the room besides me and the massage therapist? I tried to turn about and look, but the therapist insisted I stay in the same position. When my back and calves were done, she asked me to turn around slowly and placed a warm towel on my eyes to relax.
You see,
again, I could feel two pairs of hands working on my body.
y'all in this
One was the
being
massage
blindfolded
therapist,
in
and the
massage
other,
parlor.
I don't know. However, the massage was so relaxing that I just didn't mind. Maybe she needed some help. An hour later, I walked out of the massage parlor, all relaxed and happy, with a next week's appointment with the same massage therapist. My wife was very happy to know that I was going in again next week, too. That night, as I slept beside my wife, I felt the same pair of hands massaging my back and my legs. I turned around to see if it was my wife, but she was snoring peacefully beside me. I thought maybe I was dreaming, and so I went back to sleep. Again, after I fell asleep, I felt the pair of hands on my body. I woke up and there was no one around except me and my wife in the room. I covered myself with a duvet and went back to sleep. The next day, I told my wife about it, and she said that maybe I was dreaming. Also, whenever she goes for a massage, usually there's only one massage therapist present.
That's what I'm saying.
For the next 5 nights, I felt the same pair of hands roaming my body. They started from my feet and slowly crept towards my chest and neck. But every time I felt the pressure of those hands on my abdomen or chest, I would wake up. My wife didn't believe me, but in the back of my mind, I had an uneasy feeling about it. The next night before my next massage appointment, I have a nightmare in which a black figure is sitting over my chest and trying to choke me. I know most of you will think I had sleep paralysis, but this was true.
Not me.
It wasn't sleep paralysis.
You brought up demon hole.
As soon as I woke up, the figure got off of me and ran out of the room. I was so terrified, but I didn't wake my wife as I knew she wouldn't believe me.
Got off of you and ran out of
the
the
only way to
room?
find out
You
what was
didn't
happening
taste
to
it?
me was by visiting the massage parlor again.
And that's the one, that's the one time, because what do you mean you're sleeping? You look up, you see a demon. The demon run out the room. Like, I'm sorry. The demons I know that are demons and, what do you say, sleep paralysis, they don't get up and scurry out the room. So who is you? And what is you doing in my house while I'm sleeping?
Next day, as the receptionist was taking me to the massage room, I asked her if a second therapist had assisted in my massage. She looked at me funny and said that only one therapist attends to one client. Then who was massaging me last time, along with my massage therapist? This time, however, instead of a woman, I was assigned a male massage therapist.
Cool.
As we got to talking, and even though the massage was just as relaxing, I didn't feel another pair of hands massaging me this time. Thankfully, it was just me and my massage therapist, Kevin.
Okay.
Hey, Kevin. Last time when I was here, a woman in her mid-40s was massaging me, and there was someone else along with her too, but I couldn't see the second person. Could you tell me who she was so I could thank both of them? I asked casually so as not to raise suspicion, but the expressions on Kevin's face were enough for me to know something was very wrong.
Kevin, tell him.
Is
Don't
everything
be
okay?
now.
I asked Kevin. The man looked around the room as I was getting dressed after my massage, and then he finally began talking.
Speak, Kevin!
Looks like you were massaged by one of the ladies. There are 5 senior massage therapists here who have been with the massage center since it opened.
Okay.
Many of their clients have reported weird incidents happening to them after they had a massage from one of them. Let me guess. You felt someone touching you at night. Maybe something like sleep paralysis, but very real. Well, yes. How did you know about this? There's been a talk in the staff about these 5 ladies, but no one dares confront them. They usually take the wealthy clients or clients who come in later in the evening. No one knows what they do, but some staff members have spotted some voodoo items in their lockers. But still, nothing is confirmed. We suspect that they do some type of black magic on their clients and attach some kind of entity to them.
Why
Kevin
would you
stopped
say
talking
ain't
when the
nothing
door
been
to the
confirmed?
massage room swung open, and a lady in her 50s looked inside. She asked Kevin if his session was done, as she needed the room for her client. Kevin just nodded and ushered me outside towards the reception. She was one of them. He whispered when we were out. Do you know what I can do to get rid of this presence?
You gotta... Why,
Try visiting
Kevin,
a church.
Why are you still working there?
I
How do
drove
you know
straight
about this
towards a
black magic
church.
and stuff and you just up
It
in-
must have been around 8 in the evening,
They gonna
and
send
I was
something
driving
home
on the
with your
highway
ass
to
if
get to
you
the
over
other
here
part of
telling
town where the church was. At a certain point, I was the only one on the highway, and suddenly I spotted a dark figure appearing in front of my truck out of nowhere.
Yep.
I was speeding and my truck swerved, and somehow I managed to control it from skidding into the other lane. When the truck came to a complete stop, I noticed a line of vehicles behind me who had stopped immediately, too. My heart was pounding.
Don't tell
I
me
couldn't
Kevin
understand
told...
what was going on.
Kevin told all y'all to go to the
This
damn...
was the first time I'd actually seen the figure out of my bedroom. I started my truck and began driving again. When I parked my truck in the church's parking lot,
you were
I saw the same figure
was about to
standing in the
say,
cemetery,
Kevin told all
which
y'all
was
to go
just
to the
beside
damn
the church,
thing?
and it was staring at me. By this time, I wasn't fazed by the figure and walked straight into the church, and a group of kids were practicing for choir. I spotted the father and walked up to
Careful
him.
with the church kids.
He was
They're
lighting
freaking
some
too.
candles, and at the moment he turned around, he smiled at me and said, "You saw it thrice, didn't you? Once in your bed last night, then on the highway, and now, just minutes ago, in the parking lot."
Sir, can you take
Stunned
this demon
wasn't
up
even
off
the
me?
word to capture how I felt
Like,
when the father said that.
You're over here...
He went on and told me
you
everything
think
that
I'm
had happened to me
impressed.
since
I'm
I entered the
not.
massage parlor for the
Take
first
this
time.
damn demon up off me.
My child, those ladies hexed you. They put the spawn of the devil after you. But not to worry.
Ew.
God is all-merciful, and he will help you.
Amen.
He filled a small glass bottle with holy water and picked up 2 unlit candles from the candle stand. Handing me both, he told me to go home and drink the holy water and light the candles for 2 consecutive nights beside my bed. He said, "The light of Jesus will cast all evil away from your life.
Okay.
But remember, never visit that parlor again."
You ain't gotta
I
say
did
nothing.
as he said,
You ain't
and
gotta
knock
say
on
nothing but a
wood,
word.
I've not felt or seen the entity again. When I tell this story to anyone, they don't believe me. But I hope you guys believe me. I know evil entities exist in this world. But so does the power of God.
I just don't understand, you know. why Kevin worked there.
The following story I'm about to tell you may seem unbelievable.
Okay.
I understand that it may pass as just another internet story. I also understand that even though there were witnesses, not everyone believes me, nor do my family or friends.
And fuck them.
I admit that even though I question if what I experienced is real, but I know it is.
Okay, so
it is as real as the marks on my skin will attest.
All right, you got
It all
proof.
happened at my old job. I used to have a massage parlor in my garage, and to tell you the truth, I really liked it. I always enjoyed being a masseuse, and obviously, I studied for it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Lovely.
Every once in a while, I received some indecent proposal that honestly ruined my day.
Oh.
But luckily, it happened less and less, and once they got to know me, almost all my clients were regulars. Everything was going more than fine until one day. I got a surprise from one of the men who always came to me for massages. It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Nothing made that day special. The weather was normal, not too hot nor too cold. Nothing had happened to me the day before, nor did I expect that day to be remarkable in any way. I simply got up, had breakfast, and went to work on a day when my agenda was composed of clients I already knew. The first few massages were normal, and I was getting ready for my next client, and that's when the nightmare began. Tim was always a normal man. He was a married man, and he never made any kind of proposition or innuendo to me. Tim had a small build. He was quite short and skinny, but I could tell he went to the gym from time to time. His personality was quite calm. He was a very polite, humble, and shy person.
Okay.
Needless to say, he also had a pretty low profile. I was getting ready to have a quiet session with him, but as soon as he walked in the door, I knew something was wrong. Tim was really very nervous. His face was red, and his relaxed posture was all tense, like he was really nervous about something. I greeted him politely.
Have you seen his wife, or did he just say he got a wife? Because that could be the issue. He ain't really married, and he about to sit there and trying to attack you.
And he just gave me back a shy and forced smile. Something was happening to him.
Tim, stop playing.
Hey, Tim. Sorry for the intrusion, but are you all right?
Hi, Barbara. Yes, of course. I'm just a little tense.
Oh, I understand. Lie down. I'll do my best to make you better.
Okay.
Tough week. I'd appreciate it. These last few days have been very tense.
Once Tim lay down, with his shirt off, I covered my mouth so I wouldn't scream from the shock of what I was seeing. His whole body was different. He had marks and cuts all over. But these were not marks from a fight, and he didn't look like he had been attacked. The marks were key points of his body. It was like his body had gotten bigger and his skin couldn't take it. His skin was cut like a t-shirt that he had outgrown at some point.
I wouldn't touch him.
It was all very strange.
I'll be
But
right
you know
back,
what?
Tim.
It wasn't the worst of it. What struck me most about his back was his hair. Tim was always a very neat person. He was one of those people who hated having hair on his body.
Okay.
From facial hair to hair on his back to hair on his legs. The only thing he was naturally accepting of were his eyebrows and the hair on his head. That's why I was so shocked by seeing him the way I saw him. His whole body was full of hair. It was as if this man hadn't shaved for years. When was the last time I saw him? Last month?
Shots.
This didn't make any sense. Had he taken any medication that caused him to have an allergic reaction?
Had to. Don't ask him. Well,
Is there something wrong with my body? What's taking you so long?
you know what the hell is wrong with your body, boy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I was just looking for the cream. I must admit that Tim's comment caught me totally off guard. He would never have spoken to me like that. Somewhat uncomfortable, I rubbed some cream on his back and started massaging him. Something was wrong with his back, and I don't mean the cuts or the farting. His back was moving on its own. I thought about telling him to stay still, but quickly realized that would not be possible. All these movements felt involuntary. It was as if something was happening to his back, as if it was changing.
Working out by its own? That's crazy.
No. Not now. Not again.
Get out. Get out.
From
Get
one
out of there.
second to the next, Tim gave a great scream and began to move violently.
I'm leaving it.
Terrified, I just stepped back and dropped the cream. His body began to change rapidly. His muscles swelled, and Tim stopped to scratch violently all over his body. I didn't know how to react. I was alone in my house. Should I scream and alert the neighbors? Wouldn't that put me in even more danger?
Your house.
In the middle of everything that was happening, Tim looked at me with a lot of anger and walked slowly towards me, always scratching and with unpredictable and uncomfortable movements. Nervously, I grabbed a shovel and told him to back off. In response, he just pulled it out with one hand and threw it to the side. With some resistance, he grabbed my neck with his other hand and slowly began to squeeze me. I can't describe to you what I felt at that moment. I tried to resist. I tried to fight back. But this person was not the same shy man who always came to me for massages.
This is insane.
Nothing I did, no struggle or attempt I made to escape seemed to have any effect on him. Make no mistake, I couldn't breathe and I was choking. But I felt that rather than drown, I would surely break my neck. I could feel my life slipping away from me as the man focused on trying to kill me. And just as it started out of nowhere, it ended. Instead of continuing to squeeze me until I ran out of air or broke my neck, he simply threw me violently against the wall. Tim threw me with such force that it was a miracle I didn't hit my head against the wall because the damage would have been irreversible. Trying to recover from the blow, I looked up and saw my attacker more furious than ever. He wasn't even focused on me anymore. He was just running all over the garage, destroying everything in his path, screaming desperately as if he was an animal that had totally lost his mind. As he screamed, I could see Tim's body move on its own, to which the man only reacted by scratching, but with such force that I thought he would pull his skin off. It was easy to see that Tim, while visibly furious, was also in a great deal of pain. However, none of this made me question what was happening. No matter how much Tim was suffering, I was the victim, and he was the person attacking me.
Fair.
In the midst of his fit of rage, Tim concentrated on smashing the closet, totally ignoring the fact that I was standing next to him. I took advantage of this situation to slowly approach the huge garage door. Once there, I moved it slowly to open it. The door was very hard, and I could only open it a few centimeters, which served to let some natural light into the garage. Unfortunately, that light went right into the closet Tim was destroying, which alerted him immediately. Before I could finish opening the door and escape, I felt Tim's shadow behind me again. As soon as I turned around and faced him once more, he grabbed my face with both hands and without squeezing, gave a huge, terrifying battle cry with his face almost pressed against mine. That was the most terrifying moment I have ever experienced in my life, even worse than when he had flung me a few minutes before.
Yeah, because what are you doing up in my face, holding my head,
felt
yelling?
So loud, so violent, and so imposing that I felt it pierced my whole body and took away my will to continue trying to escape. After that scream, I fell to the ground, sitting down, crying with my eyes wide open. Tim was preparing to attack me once more, but at the last moment, salvation came. The garage door kept opening. It wasn't opening by itself. Several people behind it were pushing it. They were my
Oh, good
neighbors.
shit.
They were trying to get me out of the
They heard the
house.
commotion.
At that moment, I realized that even though I had not screamed or warned them that I was in danger, they all knew what I did for a living and that I was always receiving people in my garage. Tim's loud and violent screams and all the noise generated by
Great
such
neighbors.
destruction alerted my neighbors, and almost all of
They're
them
like,
came
what
to
the
see
fuck
what
is
was happening
that?
to me.
They thought they were up in there with a
Once they had
damn
managed to open the
bear.
garage door, they dragged me out before the eyes of a Tim who, instead of attacking them, took the opportunity that the door was open to run out of the house in his underwear.
Mm.
All my neighbors came to my rescue and immediately took me to the hospital.
You got the scars
I
from him
had
throwing you?
been
'Cause he
saved.
ain't scratched you, man. He
I
ain't
must
scratched
tell
you.
you, that was the last day I saw Tim. Or at least I think it was. From that day on, he never showed up or posted anything on social media again. His family never responded to my messages or tried to contact me.
That's insane.
I never understood what happened to this man and how he went from having such a calm personality to whatever happened that afternoon.
Wildebeest.
I must admit that in spite of everything, I always think about him and worry about him. Since that day, all the neighbors report seeing some kind of animal running through the neighborhood at night. I
That's
know
crazy.
this doesn't make sense, but sometimes I wonder, what if that monster is Tim?
It's more than likely that it is. It's insane that you let his back start moving and jerking like that before you start
I believe.
You should know podcast. Go subscribe. It's so insane that you just let his back start twitching and itching before you started, to holler or do anything. He came in there looking uneased and out of order. That alone should have let you know, like, maybe I don't need to see him today. You know? Was my favorite one the first one? Yes, it was, because I could not imagine sitting there getting a massage and then they be like, "Oh, you gotta put a blindfold on." No, uh, and I understand like they do that, they do, but that's after you've seen the person you're dealing with. They usually apply that, like you've seen how the person he seen the woman and then she put on a hot thing on his eyes. That's different, and I'm skeptical of that too because you see how she came in, she put a damn hex on him. You know what I mean? Just be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's going on. That person had nub fingers rubbing on her. There's nothing wrong with, having your fingers cut off or, whatever happened to your hand. You're perfectly fine. But to cut people's fingers off unwilling just so they could give out a good massage because you had a good one in Thailand? And then this girl talk about would it be worth it for me to cut off my fingers? Like, girl, you can't give yourself a good massage like that, so it's not gonna be worth it. I don't know. Which one was your favorite? Please again be sure to go and subscribe over to SSG Animations page. Give them a like, jump in the comments and say Tania sent you. And until next time, you guys, I love ya. Bye.